Dark Star, the PGA Tour taking on an outside investor that's not the PIF is dead on arrival. It's, for one gloriously obvious reason, control. Wow. Control. You take on an outside investor, particularly one with the letters PE or VC in front of their money, you have given up control of your operation.
Right.
You would never even dream of doing that unless you were forced to, which they have been forced to, and that's why they're looking at PIF. But PIF does not have the letters PE or VC in front of their money. That's why we've been saying, and I've been saying, and we can debate it today, that the PIF money is a sure thing, and the PIF deal will continue to track along. And there is no way that the PGA Tour would take private equity money, and the news of the day is that the Endeavor offer was dead on arrival. And I can assure you that it was never even considered. It was a silly thing to even entertain.
As you mentioned, the PGA Tour doesn't even tell the players what's going on financially,
right.
Let alone they're going to have some private equity come in and scrutinize them. Not just scrutinize them, but then try to, if you're private equity, you're going to give all this money in the auspices that there's going to be a return, an ROI that's positive. Well, it's a dying sport. Everybody's 67 years old. As you've mentioned many times, the people that watch it don't buy anything.
No, it's not. PE money is not a gift.
Yeah.
It's not a... Jay, this $1 billion, or can you imagine a $500 million investment or $1 billion investment from Wall Street? Jay, this is not a gift. The performance objectives that you'll be meeting are as such, monthly, quarterly, annually, and we're going to stick a microscope up your rear end every minute of every day to make sure that it's all tracking. And of course, it's going to be in tranches. So of course, it's not going to be, just here it is and good luck, and maybe you'll win and maybe you'll lose, and no. If you don't hit your performance objectives, we're going to be up your tush. You're going to be this. And there's no way the PGA Tour would ever do that, probably ever. They probably would rather go bankrupt than do that. And then the audience, rightly so, might be saying, well, they're taking money from the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. Yes. The Saudi Arabians, first of all, have in all
totally different reason.
In all their investments, whether it's Uber, where they're a big shareholder, or other things that they're investing in, their horizon on benefit, and the benefit's going to be different for depending on what they're investing in, is years away. And in the PGA Tour example, the benefit that they want isn't dollars and cents literally. It is, but it's not going to be measured on the return on investment on the PGA Tour product or the NewCo product. That's not how they're going to measure. So to the PGA Tour, to Ed Herlihy, the PIF money is a gift. It's a gift from the heavens. It couldn't be any better. You're going to give us, let me get this straight. You're going to give us $2 billion and you're going to call us once a year?
Well, they're going to be a little.
As long as we made the point that the PIF is going to control what they want, but what they want is what the PGA Tour wants. That's why it's a good deal. They want a healthy golf ecosystem with global sponsors and lots of stuff happening because the PIF wants deal making. They want to be in the circle with the corporations, and they get the inside track to better investments that they have to invest another, $500 billion over the next 20 years.
Al Ramayan just played in the Dunhill. That's what he wants. The $2 billion is like me giving somebody $20 so I can get a dinner reservation. Look, or something,
it ain't easy.
So I can talk to somebody.
It's easy to get crowded out. They could get the PIF could be crowded out of an investment in Uber. If Uber or Tesla, or pick a company, and I wouldn't say Tesla, but if Uber were the hottest investment to make, and you're trying to get your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 billion in there or more, you could get crowded out easily. I mean, BlackRock's got more money than the PIF to invest, and you need deal making, deal flow. If you have a bunch of money, deal flow is your problem. Right. Good quality deals, because a lot of deals that come along are not quality. And the ones that are high quality, everybody knows about, and everybody's lined up to invest in those same 10 things that everybody wants. You need to be at that table, and if you're not at that table, and right now, are the Saudis and MBS and those guys, are they at the table? No, they're at a table, but they're not at the table, and they want to be at the table. And golf and other sports, soccer, American, what else in America are they investing in besides golf? But soccer, golf, and the other things are racing, Formula One they're into.
Yeah.
Cricket they're into. Probably going to get into tennis. That's widely rumored that would make sense. That is all the sports of kings.
Right.
And the sports of kings is where you want to be when you're getting deal flow.
Right. So the point is they have a
PE would not be that.
They have a completely different motive.
PE
Can you
would not be
imagine PE coming in? Does Jay Monahan know how to put a ticket in his Apple Wallet? Because
Yeah.
But point is, and what I was going to say also when you were talking about private equity coming in, scrutinizing not just everything from the plane flights to how many volunteers we're going to have, they're certainly going to be in that situation in their quest for return on investment. It's going to be more of a circus atmosphere. Can you imagine the players sitting there going, I got to go do what? I got to go have, I got to go have lunch with Bozo the Clown and hit, chip shots off his nose, or, it'd be terrible. They would even, and the other thing, they would dilute the product even more if it's possible. I still can't believe they're doing these fall hit and giggle events. I thought they were going to get rid of them.
You could see where sport in general is not in a good place right now. And all other sports are pretty much, investors trying to get a return on investment. Not all of them, but it turns into what Endeavor is all about. Endeavor, who made an unsolicited offer, which is interesting. We won't get into tortious interference, but that is an interesting that they did that while the target is in negotiations with another entity. They're interfering with that deal. Potentially, but they were, batted away. So if you haven't seen that story, and maybe our audience has, we think you have. So that's been batted away, and they, But the Endeavor owns wrestling, professional wrestling,
right,
and the Ultimate Fighting, and a few other things. Sports management. I think IMG's in there. It's a pretty neat company, but do we want? And we'll make sort of an outsized statement. But do we want pro golf to look like wrestling, where it's totally scripted just for an entertainment product? And it really works. I mean, there's some things to draw from wrestling. It's not, it works. They're making money on wrestling, and fans love it. The fans that follow it love it. It's scripted, obviously. Do we want that in golf? Or do we want golf to look more like that? No, probably not.
Well, the problem is it is hard to script golf, despite the fact that you're getting the best, quote unquote, the players you want at the majors, at Augusta. When you look at Augusta and the Masters, the winners have always been somebody who's playing well, who's a superstar at the time. You don't get the strange, because you don't have 144 guys in the field. Augusta does a much better job scripting. And to be honest with you, people like you and I don't watch the NFL anymore, but the scripting in the NFL is working for them. They feel they're doing better on a revenue model. They're taking games over to Europe, and I don't know if anybody's watching. So scripting seems to work. However, for golf, you can't have a holding penalty or 3 pass interference penalties to change the outcome of the Super Bowl, for example.
Typically not. That when that does pop up. Now, you could argue, that's an interesting point. We could argue that when an opportunity presents itself, which is rare, and we can manipulate the outcome, then we're going to do that. If we're golf, if we're the aristocracy, Dustin Johnson getting a ludicrous penalty in the U.S. Open comes to mind.
Yeah,
I forget who was chasing him. Who was chasing him? Who would have been the winner had DJ folded under that kind of pressure of having this unknown? You may or may not have a penalty. We're not sure yet. We'll see how you play. Then we'll maybe give you a penalty. And he won anyway because he stepped up and had a major pair of stones. And what a great tournament DJ to win that U.S. Open at Oakmont.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. But who was chasing him? I don't remember. But
Westwood was in the final group, I believe, with him. Furyk ended up high on the leaderboard, but there was somebody, a fairly big name.
it would be interesting to know if it were, Rory or somebody like
it wasn't.
that. I don't think it was. But
It was
it'd be interesting to know who that was. Because that, you could argue that was an attempt.
But let's be honest.
To script something.
They have scripted. Tiger, as we have said before, has had the early-late advantage in every single PGA championship.
Huge advantage.
Huge advantage.
Early tee time on Thursday, late tee time on Friday.
And so we've discussed
whole day
this
off
before.
between.
The whole day off in between. Rory, they set up courses for Rory with the length, etc. So they scripted as much as possible, but they still can't get Rory to win a major. It's shocking.
Yeah, they're trying.
They're trying desperately.
They're trying.
And obviously keeping the Koepkas and the DeChambeaus and the Cam Smiths off of the majors is going to, obviously.
Absolutely.
And even a Taylor Gooch, who, was the top guy on LIV this year. God, if I could putt like him, I'd be on tour. I mean, it's incredible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, there's word that. So I like the point that, the PGA Tour, even beyond control of their own product, which of course they want, which ties into our OWGR episode. Watch that show. The aristocracy, which the PGA Tour is part of, because it's run by the same people, the same guys that are running the Masters and the Open and the U.S. Open and the PGA Tour are running the PGA Tour. It's all one big happy royal family of golf, and they want control, and they certainly don't want outside investors, except maybe if they had to, or the money was just so huge that the little bit of control they have to give up is worth it. And the PIF could not be a better partner. I mean, and I'm sure that the PIF, being shrewd, and Al Ramayan being a shrewd guy, has made that point either subtly or maybe tangentially, like, hey, we're not going to be in your shorts so much because we want this and you want that, and that's fine. But the things that we want, we're going to get with our $2 billion. But the things that you want, you get to keep. You get to keep control of the tournaments. Yes, if you want Jay to be ahead of the thing, fine. It's fine with us as long as we get what we want, which is a healthy ecosystem and blah, blah, blah. Fine and dandy. But the secrecy from the players, you go try to find the financials of the PGA Tour. Good luck.
Yeah. Well,
good luck with that.
We've disagreed a little bit on the past. I still don't think we're even going to find out as much as we think on January 1.
For what?
As far as any kind of merger, any kind of money they're going to give them. I think
the PGA Tour needs money.
Yeah.
So that's a fact. They're planning these signature events, which
they would struggle
hugely
They would
expensive.
struggle with private equity. They need some money from somewhere. Well, I understand that. However,
in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I don't think they are. But you got to remember the stars with the monies they're giving them with the new computer league. The stars are going to be whole, and so when your stars are whole, you have some negotiating room, you have some leveraging, you have some time.
And we could pivot. We won't on this show,
Yeah.
but we could pivot into Tomorrow Golf League or Tech Golf League, whatever the TGL, as a slush fund for keeping the certain PGA Tour players whole financially, regardless of any other circumstance, right? Which keeps them from maybe going over to another tour. Yes, all that is, we could follow up on that. But the other possible suitors and what the PGA Tour may do, if you're right and they don't take the PIF deal, it's even hard for me to say that. They turn down, let's put it in your language. The PGA Tour comes January 1st of this coming, 2 months, and says, no, we don't want your $2 billion with no strings really. I mean, strings, yes, but not the crazy strings like private equity would have. We don't want your $2 billion. Instead, we're going to struggle for money. Okay, no. Yeah. Instead, we're going to go get Wall Street type money because we'd love to share our financials and have to be scrutinized and have to make a return. We'd rather go that direction because we want to work harder and have less control over our tour. So that's what you're saying.
No, they're not going to compete. Oh. But they can survive now for a longer period because they've made their stars whole. And as long as the stars don't jump to live, they can sort of,
Yeah.
They can wait for a better deal, potentially. You and I can't think of it.
A better deal?
I can't think of it. Well, I didn't say better. I don't mean better. I don't mean a better deal. I
can't even say
it.
For the PGA Tour to do what they did and to come out of left field on June, whatever that was, this past June, and say, we are going to enter into negotiations to make a deal to join our products with the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund, who we've been pillaring for the last 15, 18 months. We're going to do that. For them to do that kind of 180, the two things have to be true. And I will wrap my comments for this show on this. Two things have to be true. They really needed the money, and the money was really big, really good. It's really good. All that money. How does it feel to have all that money? It feels great. What a stupid question. Yeah, it feels great. And they get all this pile of money, and they get to keep doing mostly what they're doing. And the cost of that is that we're going to look bad in public for a few months. Totally worth it.
Yeah,
totally worth it. To them, totally worth it. You know why? Because when they're playing golf out at Shinnecock and National Golf Links and Maidstone, and when they're out there at Augusta having their golf games and having lunch and having a nice old time, it is lovely. That is a great way to live life. They're not too worried about public opinion.
No, and you would think it's, like they say, a no-brainer, but stupider things have been done. That's
not by them,
and that's
not by them. Not yet. It's
not yet.
That's another good show. It's hard to find where the PGA Tour golf aristocracy has made a phenomenal mistake. I'm sure they have. They're human, but they have 4 very healthy majors. They're pretty healthy. They had a healthy Ryder Cup. That was going along real well. You dial back 4 years ago, pretty good spot. I mean, they're victims of cord cutting and aging demographic. Kids playing video games, all the same stuff we always say. They're victims of that. They didn't cause it. They need to find a way to fix golf at the bottom. They need more kids playing golf globally. They really, 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 really do. And, anyway, I'm going to close on that. For more on this topic podcast, we're going to go deeper on some of these other elements there.
Yeah. My last comment. The only
golf cart. What is that? Golf cart? Jesus,
yeah.
They were flying. All right, go.
So anyway, my last comment is I don't see private equity killing a PIF deal. The only thing I could see is somehow merging with one of the gambling houses in a bigger way.
Well, they already have a deal with DraftKings.
Well, they have right. So DraftKings somehow allowing them, we're just going to give you X amount percentage of the proceeds. We don't care what you do. Something along those lines. Yeah, they can't have their financials scrutinized. They can't have it turn it into a circus, P searching for ROI. So
on the podcast, we're going to talk about Tiger Woods and his efforts to kill the deal, because I think that's happening. We said that months ago when he joined the PGA Tour policy board. Some of the players are rebelling, and we're going to go deeper on Tiger in the podcast, so catch that there. Well, there's some interesting angles there about Tiger leading a counter rebellion to squash the PIF. We need a homonym, kill the PIF, whatever. We need to come up with something. But until podcast, B Team is out.
All right, Dr. Darkstar's out.
If you're a fan of the show, be sure to subscribe to our new audio podcast, Unfiltered and Off Script. That is where you will get all of our show prep material, wide-ranging conversation on how we come up with these topics, what we choose to zero in on that makes it to the video and the YouTube format, as well as topics that'll never get to YouTube. And there are a lot of those that we like to talk about that'll never make it to YouTube. So look in the description below for the link over to Substack. That's where you can subscribe to the podcast. And thank you again for being a fan.